LinkedIn and YouTube. Those links are already posted. Okay. Make sure everybody's admitted. Y'all, we are recording today, so if you don't want to be on camera, yeah, you're welcome to turn your cameras off. But if y'all want to participate with cameras on, it's a lot more fun for me, but no pressure. There is a raise hand option at the bottom. We're going to actually do Q&A at the end, though, because we're limited to an hour today. I want to make sure that we get through all the content and I give you guys as much of my knowledge as I have to share. We are here today for LinkedIn training. We're going to talk about why all entrepreneurs should be using LinkedIn. This is something that I was really curious about last year, so I started digging in, and I found someone else who does training on it. She offers like a really mega masterclass on it, and I went through that as well as a little bit of her additional training. So I wanted to share my knowledge because, wow, it's just kind of made a huge difference for me since January. And why not get everybody on board, right? So let me share my screen again so we can get back to this presentation. There we go. Oh. There we go. Okay. Also, I wanted to remind everybody we are here and I'm hosting this training for the We Over Me community. We are one community of purpose-driven entrepreneurs. We are united with a shared commitment to grow our businesses with divine confidence and purpose. If you aren't a part of our community, we would love to have you join us. You can just type in the weovermecommunity.com to find out more information. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about our commitment as a community, because as faith-based entrepreneurs, we want to become aligned with our God calling, always stepping forward in faith and intention towards our divine calling. We want to fulfill that. So while we're here, are y'all ready to get started? Give me some, who's using the chat? If y'all can use the chat, I'm going to pull that up. I may open and close it a couple times throughout if it becomes too distracting for me, but I want to make sure y'all utilize the chat so that you can get familiar with each other, get to know each other, and leave your questions along the way if you want. We can start with those from top to bottom when we get to the Q&A, but that'll help you remember your questions as well as help me make sure that I don't miss any. So what is LinkedIn and why are we talking about it today? It was designed for professional networking. Huge difference between LinkedIn and other social media platforms, right? The platform is just more focused. It's not as social oriented, right? But the base consists of users who are between the age of 25 and 64. And if you compare that to the other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where we're spending most of our time because that's what society tells us to do if we want to grow our businesses, look at your target market And does your target market fall into the age group that's on the other social platforms, or does it fall into this age range? This is my top stat. Like, it makes such a big difference. And this was like one of my aha moments. Less than 4% of LinkedIn users actually post content. What does that mean for us? If we show up on LinkedIn and we post consistently, our content's going to be seen, right? It's going to filter through people's feeds because no one else is posting in comparison, right? Also, LinkedIn users tend to be more engaged because they are there for professional purposes and content sharing and industry type discussions. So when you show up talking to your right audience with the right content, it's going to be engaged. Let's see. So yeah, by building a target audience on the platform, you're almost guaranteed your content's going to be seen. So how do you get started, and what are the steps to gaining major traction? Well, we're going to cover 3 main areas today, and in these areas, I'm going to dig as deep as I can in the time frame we're allowed and help you get started. Okay, so we're going to talk about the profile and your profile page, your target audience, and connection and content creation, because those 3 areas right there are the first three things that have to be addressed in order to gain that traction. So let's get into profile updates. And let me see if I can share the right screen for that. I'm going to use my profile as a, I'm going to use my profile, obviously, as the example throughout. If anybody else wants to be a guinea pig and drop their link in the, well, the wrong screen shared again. Let me make sure I have the other one pulled up. If anybody wants to drop their LinkedIn link, LinkedIn profile link in the chat, there you go. Sorry about that. Then I would be more than happy to look at yours as well. We'll have one hot seat on the call as long as we have that time. Okay, again, the wrong screen shared, so let's get to the right one. There it is. Okay, I'm streaming live right now on LinkedIn. So why is this? Somebody unmute for me and tell me what screen you're seeing. Are you seeing my LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
Okay, because in Zoom, for some reason, it's showing me the presentation still. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we
right.
see your LinkedIn profile with you zooming.
Zooming. Okay. And I know that's really distracting because it's delayed. So I'm going to kind of scroll up so that you don't have to see all that. All right. Why is the profile so important? Well, this is your landing page. Just like if you have a website, you land on a home page. Your LinkedIn profile is considered your website on LinkedIn. It's super important that it's up to date, that it is very clear and concise, and that there's no confusion about who you're talking to, but also what you do. So how do we address those things? Well, as a professional branding and web designer, I can tell you this was my favorite part about the update. So typically I have a cover image here. The cover image is super important. I can tell you this. If I come across someone else's profile and their cover image is not updated, I pretty much don't engage, because I'm not going to waste my time looking any further to see if they're active on the on the platform. So many people have really old accounts. I'm one of them. I had over 1,500 connections when I decided to start using this platform for lead generation, but all of them were really old. I mean, I would log in every now and then if I got a ton of emails saying that somebody was engaging. I would log in and clear all my notifications, but I was not active. I don't believe I had an updated cover image. I think I put one up 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't keep it updated. So updating that and making sure that you use a cover that is clear is really important. You can add content to it, or you can just, Canva is the best place to update your cover image. If you're not sure how to use Canva, we're going to do another training on this, on Canva, how to use Canva, coming up soon. But you can log in to Canva. You can use the free version to do this. Look up a LinkedIn cover image template. You'll find some. Here's what's important. You're going to want to make sure that because your profile image ends up here, that any text that you put in shows up to the right of your profile picture. You don't want that to be covered up. And you just want to have a really clear message. Very similar to when we get down here to your headline. This is considered a headline. So how do we edit our content? This edit pencil right here on the top right corner of this section is where we're going to click to edit that. But let's make sure that our profile picture here is a headshot only. You don't want even the shoulders in it because that is a very tiny picture, especially on mobile. You want a headshot. You want it to be zoomed in. You don't want there to be distractions in the background. So that should either be blurred or a solid color. Again, if you have the perfect image that you want and you love, you can go into Canva and you can remove the background and re-upload it. You can even go into Canva, remove the background and give yourself a solid black background or a pop of color if you need one. So that's an option too. And if y'all will remind me later, if you want some examples of good cover images, I can show you some of those. I can show you the couple that I've used, and the one that I'm using right now can be seen once this live stream stops. So the headline, what are we supposed to put in the headline? This is a great place for me to tell you guys that you do not want to create this profile page to look like a resume. It's not, if you're here today as an entrepreneur, it's time to decide, why are you going to show up on LinkedIn? So if you want to use it for lead generation, some of us have more than one business or more than one role. Some people here are still in a corporate job, but yet they're promoting a side hustle. You have to make some decisions about how you're going to show up on LinkedIn and what your messaging is going to be, and so that you can be really clear so that when I come visit your page or anyone else who might fall into your target audience, they need to be super clear about why you're there and what your offer is. So you could say, Amy, if you were still promoting Mary Kay, you know, maybe you would have something about Mary Kay in your headline. As a realtor now, you're going to probably post something about real estate. Do you want to focus on buyers? Do you want to focus on sellers? Like, this is a good place to go ahead and really niche down about what you love to do. And we're going to get into talking about that identifying your target audience and niching down here in a few minutes. So I don't want to waste a lot of time on that, but just be super clear that, okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure nobody was still in the waiting room. Something just popped up. We're good. I just want to be super clear that it's very important that you've done that work. And if you haven't, this is a really good time for you to take some notes. and walk away and figure out, okay, what am I missing when it comes to my target audience, and what kind of work do I need to do to niche down even further? Just know when you're niching down, you can't niche down too far. You're going to catch the outliers. So my favorite client. Okay. We talk about target audience. You're going to hear ideal client. I like the term favorite client because it really makes it more personal for me. My favorite client has a name. Her name is Megan. I have a very clear description of Megan. She is 40 years old. She is a mom. She's a wife. She's a Christian. And she's working in corporate, but she's really burnt out, and she is anxious to get that side hustle off the ground so that it can take over and become her full-time gig, so she can avoid the 9 to 5 and become have that time freedom, right? Avoiding that, become the primary influence of her kid's life again, so she's not dropping them off on a school bus or having someone else pick them up from school for her. So because she's burnt out, friends, what is she missing? She's missing her purpose. Like, she doesn't know how to incorporate her purpose with her work. And so she is needing that transformation. So here you'll see in my headline, I'm very clear that I'm leading Christian women entrepreneurs toward their purpose through transformational coaching and faith-driven strategy. So to edit that section, we would click right here on our profile, and this is where you're going to get that in. Okay, so here's our headline. The reason the headline is so important, especially this first section right here, is because when you post or comment and you're in your feed, you will see that following your name comes the headline. And so when you're searching for your target audience and your favorite client, right? You know, okay, they're a C-suite, in a C-suite role, right? CEO, CFO, CIO. If they're in one of those roles, they'll have that in their headlines, so they're easier to target, so that you know who you're looking for. This is where you'll update your current position, education, and all of that. If you, in fact, have your current business, here's one of the important things. Let me show you. Do you see here how there's a logo for both of these? If you don't have a logo, you might want to consider not putting those there. Because I own my own company, I had to go create a business page so that a logo would show up. But you want to clean up. I'm going to just scroll down here to experience. Do you see here, this company does not have a logo? I'm considering completely removing that. I just haven't spent the time to really clean up my experience, but I'm considering removing this because that company doesn't have a logo. It's just not attractive. It just doesn't look professional. And again, it's not a resume. So all of this experience isn't necessarily important, but it should be written to support what I'm doing now, right? Okay, let's go back up. We want to get through this profile stuff really quick. The about section is the next section that is super important to your profile page. So let me just point out the top 5 sections that you're going to want to address first. Number 1, cover image. Number 2, profile image. Number 3 is your headline. And the 4th is the about section. Just like Facebook and Instagram, things come through LinkedIn, they see that it's not working and they'll make changes. Just so you know, one of the updates that's coming up is this about section is actually about to move all the way up here to show up directly underneath your profile. As a matter of fact, if you're looking at my profile from your account, it may already be there because these are personal sections for me to look at, right? Suggestions, analytics, and resources. You're not going to see those. So the about section's actually already moved up. Now, how do we use the about section to our advantage? Just like in a post that you would make on Facebook or Instagram, ladies, you want to open with a hook and you want to close with a CTA. What's a CTA? A CTA is a call to action. What's a hook? It's something that grabs your attention and makes you want to keep reading. So you can see here I've opened and I've right up front called out Christian women because I want them to know who I'm talking to, right? I'm going to draw them in through that. So as a Christian woman, are you tired of chaos in your office? Hello, that was me. Are you struggling to uncover your purpose and the possibilities of leaving your job? Hello, that was me. As a corporate dropout, I get it. I've been there. Here are the challenges that I understand. Balancing faith and business, seeking clarity amid the noise, craving work-family balance, longing for a supportive community, right? So you can see there, I am relating to how they're feeling and I'm calling that out and I'm letting them know right up front, I've been there, but I'm not keeping it too long. I'm clear and concise. And then I state, how do you move beyond confusion to find clarity? And I say, that's where I solve your problem. My passion is to empower Christian women like you. Here's what I offer. Uncover your God calling and align with your divine purpose. Craft a roadmap for your entrepreneurial journey and launch a legacy brand that resonates and lasts. I'm a clarity coach, originally a brand and web designer, transforming lives and businesses. Ready to fast track corporate's exit? Scroll to my featured section. And you can see here, I said scroll up. Now I need to say scroll down because it is below. To my featured section and book a free discovery call. That's where we're going to get into the next section here in a minute in that featured. But you can see I gave them one call to action. One thing to do was to next go to my featured section. Let's chat. They could DM me if they want, right? It's going to be their call, but at least I've given them the next step for how to work with me. So if you have questions about writing your about section, go ahead and drop those in the comments so that we don't miss those. But this section is really important. And I want y'all to know that I wrote this section probably 3 or 4 times before I felt really comfortable with it. So done is better than perfect. Don't forget that. You just want to show up. You want to get something edited and updated and just know that you can consistently change it until you feel really perfect or good about it, right? And it's resonating also with your audience. So you'll know that when we get a little bit further and your audience is actually going to tell you exactly what they like and why they connected with you. Okay, the 5th section that's really important in your profile is this featured section here. In the featured section, you can add posts, newsletters, articles, links, and media. You see that? I've just clicked the plus sign here, and that's how you add things. The best way to utilize this is, in fact, to provide them with the links they need to do business with you or connect with you. What are your free opt-ins? How can you build your email list? How can you get people to register for stuff like this? You can see here, when I scheduled this masterclass, I went ahead and added it to LinkedIn also. So right here in the center, you're invited to a free masterclass. Here's what's important. You want this section to look really clean. So how did I get all of my images to be the same size? And how did I get this to look so uniform? It was really, it took me trial and error to figure this out. So I'm just going to click the edit button here and just show you how important it is. Character count. Okay. That's the number one thing. So if you're going to add a link, let me show you what's going to happen. You're going to click this plus sign here, and when you do add a link, the first thing you're going to do is click or put in your link. Okay. So my links went to the registration page for this masterclass. But when that happens, it's going to pop up that thumbnail from your website. And I didn't like that. So I'm creating these thumbnails in Canva as well. So Canva has become, right, a best friend. You just pick the size of your image and you use that template for all of your images so that you have a very clear, uniform section, featured section. I use, just so you know, if you want to take some notes, this is the YouTube thumbnail size. So again, if you're using Canva templates, you can just pull up YouTube, Canva, no, YouTube thumbnail and find a thumbnail you like, and then just save that as your LinkedIn featured image template. And that way your images will be the same size. Now, when I click edit here, you can see I've got to have approximately the same character count in each title. And then my description has to be about the same too. So this line here needs to be about the same character count in each one of my featured sections. And you don't have to have more than one. Okay, you can just be really clear and have one call to action and feature one thing. If you have multiple offers, you want to think about, okay, which one is going to pull in my target audience the fastest and or resonate with them the most. So this is the character count, right? So then when I wrote it the first time, I got the format the way I wanted it, and I just took that template and I made sure that everything was about the same. A couple times I would think that I was close enough, but when I got over here to this page here, the word team was still up on the first line. So guess what? My image was bigger. My image came all the way down here under the word team. So I just had to play with the character count just a little bit to make sure that in this headline, I had 2 lines on every one of my featured sections. Same here with this first line in the description, that it was only 1 line. It didn't cut down to the second line. And then as long as the rest of your description probably could be longer in each one, and it wouldn't matter because again, it's going to get cut off. But you want to make sure that first couple lines of your description is really written well so that people want to click and follow through on that. But by doing this, you're not forcing people to leave your LinkedIn account. Just like all social platforms, the platform's goal is to keep you and their users on the platform. They don't love it when you take people off the platform. So in your post, if you want to add a link that's going to take people outside of the platform, you want to make sure that you don't put that in your post, but you put it in the comments. And that way you don't get like a negative ding against you when it comes to how you're using the platform. Does that make sense? All right, we need to move on. We're going to talk about our target audience and why that's important for LinkedIn. Who's your favorite client? And why are they hanging out on LinkedIn? Okay, I told you who my favorite client is. Her name is Megan. Why is she on LinkedIn? Because she is in a corporate job. She's professional. She's browsing. She's curious about what else is out there. She, doesn't feel fulfilled in her work any longer. And so she's exploring to figure out, okay, well, what other kind of jobs are out there? Well, if I wasn't showing up and letting her know, excuse me, and letting her know that I've been there and I felt like that too, but here's how I got out. And here's how, I figured out something different, then she would feel lonely. She would feel lost. She wouldn't know what was next, and she would feel hopeless. So by showing up and letting her know how I felt and that I've already walked through her shoes and solved that problem, she is going to be attracted to my content. And whether she engages or not, just so you know, my target audience, being burnt out at their corporate job, knows that a lot of people from their corporate job is on LinkedIn. So they're doing more browsing than they are commenting or posting. That's not the case for everybody here. You have to really know how your target and favorite audience, your favorite client, is showing up on the platform. That's why it's so important to know where they're hanging out. Are they hanging out in a group? Or are they hanging out by just browsing their home feed? But the goal is to make sure that you show up where they are. So if they're hanging out on someone else's profile that inspires them, maybe a leader in your industry. So for me, like a Mel Robbins, a Tony Robbins, is it Mel Robbins? I don't think her last name is Robbins. Maybe it is. Y'all, pardon me for having my names wrong, but Gary Vaynerchuk is another one. People are showing up in their feeds because they're inspired. They're craving what these people have and the content that they offer. So I'm showing up in those people's content as well. And I'm searching through the comments, I'm searching through the likes, and I'm looking for this headline, right? I want to find out, does that headline tell me that this person is my target audience? And how can I connect with them? Well, I can connect with them through liking their comments on other people's stuff. I can connect with them by just showing up in the same feed, and by being really intentional with the comments that I make. Like, this isn't Facebook and Instagram. I can't say that enough. You can't show up in the comments by saying, "Oh, I love that." What did you love about it? You've got to engage. You have to be a thought leader in your industry by showing up not only just to engage, but to lead people's thoughts through the conversation, right? That's what's going to get people connected with you. So, how do you identify your favorite client? This is work that really needs to be done off the platform. Like, this is not necessarily platform related. It's something that's really important to your work, regardless of how you're generating leads. But it's important to lead generation, to know who your target audience is, and to speak directly to them when you are building your content. So this is a good time for you to stop in your journey, if you haven't done this, and really dig in to say, who is my favorite client and how am I going to show up for them? Okay. Welcome, Olga. Glad you could join us. So some of the features in your favorite client that you want to identify is, like, what is their current career? What is their age? Are they a mom or not? Are they married or not? What activities do they like to do in their free time? What are they passionate about, and where are they spending their time, right? What kind of hobbies do they have? You want to know those things so that you can talk to them. So finding common ground is really important. Okay. Like, I have a tech background. Obviously, I have a design background. I was an analyst, a data analyst at one point. I've been in direct sales. So writing down all the things that you have in common with your target audience is really important, because it's going to help you in that content creation, and also help you recognize how, in fact, you should be talking to that person. Then the next thing past that is to niche down your offer, right? What problem are you solving? And what transformation are you offering when you solve that problem? Okay. So I'm taking people from confused to really clear about their purpose. Okay. So I'm offering them that transformation of I was confused, I was burnt out, I didn't know what to do in my job, and I didn't know how I was going to continue coming to work day after day, bored out of my mind, not connecting with the people around me any longer because I was so disconnected from the job I was doing. And now I'm building something that I love, I'm passionate about, I'm helping serve people that I know I was called to serve, and I'm truly aligned with that God calling that we each have been given. So again, get down to transformation. Okay. The third area we're going to talk about today is building a target network through intentional connection and content creation. So obviously that's why the second point in identifying your target audience and knowing where they hang out was so important, because now that we've identified those things, we can start looking for those people on LinkedIn, and we can prime our algorithm before we post our content. So let's talk about content creation first, because we have to be intentional with that content, right? So I'm writing to the person who's burnt out, right? So I have to utilize those things that help them find me through my content. What's going to grab their attention and make them flood over to me? Because if you're not aware, I'm going to show up in people's feed that I'm not even connected to yet. How and why? Because my connections who are connected to them have commented and or liked, and so it puts my stuff in their connections feed. Okay, this is something that is very different than the other platforms, unless you use a public profile and a public setting. Then there's some similarities. But so if I can write and attract that person, they're going to flood into me. So let me pull up an example. If I come down here to the activity, and this is important for you guys to know where this is, because as you build a target audience, and that's going to be really important, regardless of how many connections you have now, the next goal is to build a targeted network, right? You're going to grow those connections with the people you're looking to connect to. And so it's going to be important when you're looking through someone's profile that you come down to the activity section and you look to see, okay, Tiffany's active. She made this post 19 hours ago. So she's been on this platform. And let me click back real quick. As you see, you can look down and you can see, okay, she's been on this platform today. Oh, she's been on it for a little bit today. She was on it yesterday. If you go to show all posts, then you can view the post here that I've got. You can see I was on the platform last week, 2 weeks. Okay, so this person's active. They're actively using the platform. They are my target audience. This is someone I would want to connect with. So how do you connect with them? There are some things that have changed on profiles. So I'm going to utilize, let's see, who here am I not connected with yet? Trisha, I'm not sure if you're on LinkedIn already or not, but I'm going to look for you. Let me see here. Okay. So Trish is here and we are not connected yet. I'm going to click find her profile. All right. So if I found her in under the My Network tab, for example, I would see that she is a financial representative at Modern Woodmen of America. Let's just say I know this is that she falls in my target audience because of what her headline said. So I'm going to open up her profile and I'm going to look through to see if she's active. Look at this. Okay. She read something on the platform 6 minutes ago. She's been on the platform for the last few days. She's active. That's perfect. Now I know I want to connect with her. So up here, I can click connect. Here's something that's important for you to know, because on mine, it might say follow versus connect. And what does that mean? It means I'm not making the connection. It means I can't directly DM that person if I'm not connected. So I can follow someone and follow their content without connecting, but that's not going to build my connections. It's not going to make my content show up in their feed. So I need to make sure that I click connect versus follow. So if this button here says follow, how do I connect? This more button right here is where the follow button goes. Okay. Or those two switch. So if this button here says follow, this right here will say connect. So I'm going to connect. There is an option to add a note. It's important for you to know that you only can send 10 notes per month unless you are a premium member. It is not necessary to be a premium member in order to utilize LinkedIn for lead generation. Just know that I started using the platform in January and I have not upgraded yet. The person that I follow, who I've learned most of this information from, she rarely upgrades to premium. The only time she does is when she needs some features for some of the courses that she teaches. So I can say send without a note, or I can utilize one of my 10 notes and jump in there and add a note about why I want to connect. So I'm going to send this without a note. If it's anyone you already know and they're going to recognize your name, that's not when you need to send a note. Okay. Also, if I've done a really good job connecting with them already in the comments or on their posts or something like that, then I don't need to utilize that and send a note. Okay. Before you post every day, it's really important to prime the algorithm. Okay. You've heard this over on other platforms. It is true. What does that mean? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. It means that you want to be engaging in your home feed. Okay, so here's the home feed. You click on home. This is your home feed. I want to scroll through here. I want to engage with at least 5 posts. I want to comment with a very specific, engaging comment. Pro tip, always end your comments with an open-ended question so that people will be motivated to respond. You want to choose at least 5 new connections a week. I recommend 5 connections a day. So you can click on my network. This is where you'll see, excuse me. This is where you'll see invitations to connect. And then if you scroll through, you'll see suggestions. Okay. Right now, my target is women, Christian women. I'm not even considering connecting with new men at this point on the platform. They're not my target. There's no reason that I need to put them in my algorithm and confuse the algorithm for who I'm looking to reach and talk to. So I'm taking these men off my list every day so that the right people show up here. Okay. And this is just me being intentional about who I'm trying to reach. So I can go through these connections every day and I could pick, 5 more that I want to connect with. But here's the deal. I'm going to write their names down and I'm going to connect with them every single day for at least 5 days. So, or for a week. So if you're going to get on the platform 7 days a week and that's what you're going to commit to, then commit to that and be consistent. If you can only commit to 2 times a week, pick the same day of the week, the same time of day, and get on and be consistent at that time. But consistency is more important than anything else. Okay, so another pro tip that you need to know is that you are limited to connecting with only 10% of your current network each month. So if you have 100 connections currently, you are only allotted 10 new connections for the month of April. Okay, or they will lock you down. They won't kick you out, but they'll lock your profile and you won't be able to utilize it for a certain amount of days. I'm not real sure. I have not, thankfully, gone to LinkedIn jail.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
So when you may be connecting with an ideal client that you don't know or barely know, could you tell us what is a good connect message?
Yes, we are going to get into that here in just a minute. I have a few recommendations.
Okay. And then a second question, somebody mentioned in the chat that they didn't have the more button. Is that because they're not in creator mode?
Possibly. So as Sarah said, there is a creator mode. And what does creator mode mean? Well, I didn't get into creator mode with you because creator mode is actually going away, meaning they're rolling it out to everyone across the platform, and it's not going to be something that you turn on and off anymore. But to get to creator mode, you would scroll down on your platform and go to resources. You would click show all resources here and you would turn creator mode on or off. The reason I have it off is so that my connection button says connect versus follow. I want people to quit following me. I want them to connect with me, or at least to send that connection request so that I have a choice, right? And when you're in creator mode, it flips that. But in creator mode, what you are able to do is write articles. You're able to contribute to articles. And those are really great additional resources and ways to grow your audience on the platform. But those are in addition to the things that we're talking about today, which is why I didn't do that or address those today. Sarah, to answer your question about why the more button's not there, first of all, you may not see it on your own. Well, I see mine.
It was me that asked the question, Tiffany. So
Okay.
I'm on my iPad, and when I click on someone that's in my network, I do have the creator mode on.
Okay.
So I click on my network and then I click on someone's page and their name shows up and underneath it says connect, message, and then 3 dots. I don't see more.
Okay, the 3 dots is the more.
Oh.
So it's because you're on an iPad.
Oh.
Right. If you're on an iPad or a mobile phone, you're using their app and some features look different.
Oh.
Just know that. Okay. But it's the 3 little dots. I was going to say everybody should actually have that more button, but what shows up underneath it is going to depend on if you're looking at your own button versus someone that you're trying to connect with. Because if I'm looking at my own profile, you have to remember I have all the edit tools, right? And I get to control what I turn on and off. So it's going to look different on my page versus if I'm on your page, Lisa. Okay, so here's some ways to connect, and this is where we're going to talk about what to say in that connection message. But you want to make sure that you're not spammy with your messages. You want to be really personal. Like and comment on their post as much as you can. And before you send that connection request, find something on their profile or something that they've said in a comment on someone else's profile. Like that comment, engage in that comment, then come send them a connection request and make that personal connection request really personal. Let them know why you're connecting with them, what you liked about their profile, and again, end it with an open-ended question like, if I blank, would you? So if I connected, well, I don't know that that is the greatest connection for a message when you're trying to connect with them, but it's really important at least to list something and why you want to engage with them. But you could use one of the open-ended questions such as, out of curiosity, how is the mortgage industry in your opinion right now? Right? So you just want to find that common ground and connect with them some way and try to continue the conversation in the DMs that way. Because you're sending that message, it is technically a DM. Again, you're only allowed 10 of those per month. So you want to be really selective about who you use those message requests for. But getting them into your DMs and engaging with them right there is really important. Okay. And then develop an intentional and on-brand content plan. So if you haven't done a content plan for yourself, it's really important to have a calendar, have your content built out in advance, or at a minimum, at least know, okay, here are my brand or my categories or, the intentional things that I need to address throughout. So on day one for me, let me see if I can pull this out for you. I wasn't going to get too deep into this because I knew we'd be running out of time. But on Mondays, I'm trying to build authority in my lane, right? And then on Tuesdays, I'm trying to build relatability. On Wednesdays, I'm providing value and trying to connect. And this is like the guide that I'm using for the types of posts that I'm making. On Thursdays, y'all are going to love this. Excuse me. I'm recycling my work. So anything that I've done in the past, whether it's a blog, a YouTube video, coming soon, a podcast, or even old posts on Instagram and Facebook that have done really well with their engagement, I'm recycling it and using it again. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can do this 3 different times, 3 different ways a week if you need this much content. But on Friday, it's my uniquely me day. So Melissa, who I'll talk about here in just a minute, is she talks about snowflakes. We are each individual snowflakes, right? We're uniquely ourselves. God made us very unique in his image. So what are the things that are unique about myself? So some of this common ground, I'm just going to utilize this real quick, but some of this common ground content that I wrote down about ways that I can connect with my target audience. What makes me uniquely me? I have a tech background. Not everybody is nerdy and techie as I am. I have a design background and branding. I was a data analyst. What does that mean? Well, it means I love spreadsheets and that I'm a little nerdy that way. But just that I used to enter data. I had to evaluate that data and analyze it and produce something from it, right? Direct sales. What do they call it? I like to sling essential oils. Before I started this business, when I was full-time mom, I couldn't sit still. And essential oils really made an impact on the way my child was sleeping and then eventually our health overall as a family. And so I started talking about it and sharing it. And then before I knew it, I'd grown a small team and I had a customer base of people who were buying essential oils from me. So direct sales, right? I'm a licensed realtor. So, but why am I not still practicing real estate? Okay. These two facts are part of my snowflake. I sold real estate full time for 3 years. I left because the market crashed, but I kept my license active so that I could still have a stream of income through referrals. Okay, so that is a unique piece of my story. I helped my husband run his small business for about 5-6 years. So I have full-time small business experience as well. And then obviously I've been through burnout. So those are all part of my snowflake. I'm a mom, part of my snowflake. I'm a wife, part of my snowflake. I'm a Christian, part of my snowflake. Those are all things that I can talk about that make me uniquely me. And I can tell those stories and get real personal about stuff. And that is going to help my target audience connect with me. So in your messaging, whether it's personal or in your content creation, it's really important to get vulnerable, but really personal in what makes your story you. Okay. So I'm going to stop screen sharing here. It's time to move on to, let's see, how do I share? Let's see. Are we still on screen sharing mode?
Yes, we still see your profile.
Okay. I can't seem to turn that off. Stop. There we go. Okay. Thanks for being my guinea pigs, ladies, as I do this. Okay, I need to share the presentation again real quick. Let's see if I can get back to that. Okay. So we're going to take Q&A here in a few minutes, but who wants some bonuses? Drop me some hearts in the chat if you want some bonuses. I'm going to figure this out. There it is. Chat. I wanted to pull up my chat. All right. So I want to let you ladies know that I have launched, or I am coming up on the launch of my new academy. It's called the Divine Purpose Academy. And this is going to be a group coaching package that takes people through the clarity work. It's all the work that I've done with one-on-one clients for the past 4 and 5 years. But it's packaged together and it's going to be a group environment similar to what we're doing here. There's going to be a lot of this type of coaching going on and training. Basically, I'm going to give you all of my knowledge. Okay. In the Divine Purpose Academy, there's going to be 6 main sections and modules that we're going to go through together. This is going to be a year-long journey because who can do this type of work overnight? Not everybody. But I will tell you that there's going to be some different timelines. Everybody's going to work through this at their own pace, but you're going to have access to the coaching for 12 months. You could launch a business in 3 months and you could be, hitting some great numbers within 6 months. But you're going to go through your divine discovery process. We're going to take you from passion to profit. Divine fusion is where we really talk about infusing faith into our entrepreneurial journey. But we're going to chart the course. Okay. Navigating the goal setting and dream mapping is going to be a really important part of this journey. And then we're going to craft unique brands. And I'm going to teach you everything I know about legacy branding and the art of brand development. And then we're going to get into the digital presence mastery, which is how to launch your business online and captivate your leads. The reason I'm mentioning this to you today, ladies, is because I have some select seats that are open for my launch team. I'm really excited about the offers that I'm going to give my launch team, because these people are helping partner to make sure that my program is resonating with you and that I'm addressing all of the concerns that you would have as a student. That the exchange here between what you'll do for me on the launch team versus what I'm going to do for you is going to be very valuable. So if joining my launch team for this, or even learning more about it, is something that just grabbed your attention, even go ahead and register for the launch team, because I'm going to be hosting a private call for my launch team only to go through kind of the exchange and what that looks like. What are the expectations, and how can you help me? But in exchange, what am I going to do for you? And as a part of that, you can just learn more. No commitments about joining that launch team, but if you would register, you can find out more information on that call. So I'm really excited that that's open. You can learn more about the launch team here at this web address right here. I'll go ahead and type it in the chat so you can just click on it. And yeah, so I'd love to have you come along. I'm looking for Christian women who are just ready to either scale their business, start their business, get out of their burnout stage. Wherever you are, I can promise you that this program is going to help elevate you and take you through the transformation that you're looking for. And I'd love to have y'all come along. Okay, so the bonus of the day is that, okay, maybe because I didn't put HTTP at the beginning of that, maybe that's why it's broken. But you can find this if you just go to TiffaniTeel.com. Sarah just told me the link was broken, ladies. If you go to TiffaniTeel.com and click on services, you'll find a link to the launch team registration. Okay, so at the top of my website, there's navigation, click on services or hover over services. And in the drop-down menu is launch team link. Okay. Thanks for that, Sarah. She just put the right link in there for me. Okay. Here is the final bonus of the day. I'm really excited to invite you to the masterclass that I did in January. I've continued my training with Melissa on this LinkedIn, because not only is it benefiting me, but it's benefiting all of the people that I work with. So she offers a 5-day live training similar to this. It's at 12. So it's on your lunch break every day, but it's for 5 days. It's her learn how to generate hundreds of leads on LinkedIn training. Let me tell you, if you had any aha moments today on this training, you will have 1,000 more on hers, because it is just full of good stuff. She literally gives all of her knowledge away in these trainings. There's too much to consume in just an hour a day. So I'm really thankful I came across her training. So I want to clarify a couple things in the event that you go to this training. This is not a faith-based training. Some words may come out of her mouth. I'll be honest with you, that might offend you. But when you're looking for training, and you find the right stuff, sometimes you have to step into that secular world, right? You have to step into the place where the knowledge is the strongest and take what works for you and leave the rest, right? We shouldn't be afraid to do that. So, I have a registration link for you. When you register, this is the registration field that you'll see, and it says, who can we thank for referring you to our masterclass? If you will use my name and come back and let me know, I will give you a free gift. What is that free gift? I'm going to conduct a free LinkedIn profile audit for you, and you will learn on her masterclass how important that audit is. I've been through 2 audits now, and it has transformed my profile. And the reason it's so important is because it gets the eyes of someone else on your profile, where we can help point out the areas that aren't working. They're not translating from you to me, and there's a gap. So we need to narrow that gap and make sure that your profile is ready for your target audience. So this is at least a 30-minute investment of my time, but if you will register and use my name and let me know, I'll give you a free profile audit to make sure that you're advancing. So where do you register? Here's the nope, there we go. Here's the link here. Let's put that in the chat for you. Burnout to allout.co masterclass. I did check this link yesterday and it worked. So, oh, and I didn't add the www or the HTTP again. Let me do that. Okay, there we go. So I just realized that we've gone 10 minutes over and we haven't done Q&A, and I apologize for that. I appreciate you, as I said, being my guinea pigs. So I am going to open it up for Q&A now. I'm going to scroll back up and start with the top questions. I'd prefer to have everybody on screen here. So let me get the chat open. And if you have a question that you'd like to ask that's not in the chat, there's a raise your hand at the bottom and I'll call on you. Where did my chat go? There it is. Sorry. That was different. Okay. Do I have stats? Sarah asked, do I have stats on who looks at content posts and large entrepreneurs, consultants, professional speakers? I asked because many corporate professionals I know don't seem to be very engaged on LinkedIn, except when seeking work. This is true. I've heard Melissa talk about this, Sarah. So I don't have stats on that. Melissa might. I don't recall her giving those types of stats specifically. The thing that she talks about, and the thing I can tell you, is there is going to be some of everyone's audience on this platform. What is their level of engagement? Are they a silent user or are they an active user? 2 different lanes, and your target could fall in one or the other. So if you have the person who is using LinkedIn, Sarah, I'm going to speak to you specifically. If you want to unmute, we can have this conversation together. So you're in HR, and I would say that a lot of your target audience is using this platform to search and do background checks, so to speak, on the people that they're looking to hire. Would you agree?
possibly sometimes, but there's not that like recruiters aren't really my main audience, if that makes sense. Probably more
Okay.
HR
Let's talk.
directors or ops directors.
Okay. Okay. And you don't believe that, what do you think that they're using the platform for? Or are you finding that they're not using the platform?
That more than that, they're not. Or maybe just to scroll and build their network and follow like top voices on occasion, but like it doesn't seem like they're super active unless they're speakers or consultants or something. That's my lateral and not my client.
Okay. So if they are getting on the platform and they're scrolling, what are the ways that you can get their attention?
That's the $1 million question.
Okay. So let me encourage you. The number one way is that they've got your content has to come across their feed, right?
Right.
So that's one way. The second way is for you to show up where they are. So if they're in Gary Vaynerchuk's or John Maxwell's feeds and they're reading their content and liking and or commenting on their posts, then that's where you need to be also. You need to show up in the same post where they are. If they're in a group or commenting on an article, you need to be showing up and commenting on an article. But you're going to have to do the legwork and do some tracking on these people to figure out exactly how they're using it and where they're showing up and when, so that you know when and where to show up. And then that's when that connection request and that DM or message that you're going to send them is going to be so important, so that you can become one of their direct connections.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, as I go through, Willeen, you said, are you supposed to request a direct connection to your target audience once you have identified them? Yes, you can prime them for a couple days if you want by showing up in the same places that they are. Like I said, potentially even a week if you want, just so that they get familiar with your name and your face. And this is a good way to skip that message that you have to send, right? So if you can engage on some of their comments in a thread and they start responding and engaging back with you in there, that's a good place to say, hey, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'd love to connect with you. I've said simple things like that in a thread when I've gotten back and forth with someone that way that I'm not connected with. And then I'll say, would you like to connect? And the next comment is, yes, just sent you a connection request. And so then they send me their request and I don't even have to send it to them. And because we're already having that conversation in a thread about connecting, then I've eliminated the need to use one of my 10 connect messages, if that makes sense. So definitely engagement is the number one way to make sure that those connection requests get accepted, right? Yeah. So you can follow people if, Sarah, you mentioned that you always follow. If it's someone you want to connect with, yeah, go ahead and follow them before, while your connection request is sitting out there for them to accept. However, don't follow too many of the wrong people, right? It's really important that, again, you focus on who your target is. Otherwise, your feed is going to be full of stuff that isn't relevant to you and isn't your target audience, and it's going to mess up your algorithm. So connecting with a few strategic partners or power partnerships or something like that can be really valuable. Following the people, the leaders in your industry, and showing up in their feed and in their threads, is going to be helpful, but you don't have to connect with those people to mess up your algorithm. Okay. Olga said, I have had LinkedIn for ages, but about to close it for a few months back until Margie told me it may not be a good idea if I'm pursuing my latest goal. which I'll share at the right time. Okay. Don't shut it down, and don't go deleting all your old content. Don't delete your old content. Don't delete your old connections. Like, you don't have to clean that up, because it's very possible someone in your existing contacts are a connection partnership, right? So they could potentially lead you to and connect you with your right audience. So even though your existing list of connections may not be your target audience, they could be the connection who's going to connect you with your target audience. Okay, Amy says, if someone is not in your target and asked to connect, is it okay not to connect? Absolutely. Now, if they've sent you a message with their connection request, it would be polite to respond to that and just let them know. I've literally told men who are sending me connection requests, hey, I really appreciate your request to connect at this time. I'm using this platform for a very specific purpose, and I'm not connecting with people outside of that purpose at this time, but thank you so much. And I'll just delete the request or ignore it. You do want to clean up your request connections at least once a week. Or at least once a month. Okay. Don't leave them sitting there for weeks and weeks, because LinkedIn doesn't like that. It makes them think that you're not, it could give a spammy feel to the platform. Basically, it could be a red flag, and you don't want that to happen. Okay. So it looks like those are all the questions that we had here in the chat. Are there any other questions I can answer for you before you jump off? I know we're over, but I'm willing to stay on and answer any last minute questions. Okay. That's going to be it for the day then. Ladies, thank you so much for showing up. And if you're not a part of the We Over Me community already, we would love to have you join us. Just utilize the link that I'm putting in the chat now to join. We would love to have you over there in that group also. Okay. Have a great day. Thank you.